The only thing that exists is our conscious awareness, analogous to a screen upon which images are projected in a movie theater. However, while the images are being shown on the screen, it will not be seen. When projection is paused, the screen will become visible to the audience. The field of consciousness is the backdrop against which all events play out. The screen itself is the only thing that exists. All images or figures that appear on it are merely shadows. If I'm being completely truthful, I want to end the misery that I've been going through. Ignorance of our true nature, which is ignorance of consciousness, is the ultimate cause of suffering. Consciousness, it is thought, is the formless, impersonal presence that each unique physical and mental manifestation takes on. When we use our minds, whether deliberately or unknowingly, we are agreeing, at least temporarily, with the concepts of that mind, and consequently, the constraints of that mind. What seems to be genuine in each encounter is actually just a ripple in the ocean that is our own selves. It is composed of mental activities like us thinking, feeling, and seeing, and it vanishes in the same manner as the mental activities that compose a dream. Nevertheless, the core of this mental phenomenon is our own self, which we refer to as awareness. When viewed from the perspective of objective experience, it appears to be unreal and non-existent. However, in point of fact, it is the very core of the experience that we are talking about here. The main issue is that we mistake things that aren't real for things that are, so the only solution is to stop doing that. Knowledge in its various forms, including thought, imagination, experience, sight, sound, and smell, and the constituents that make up knowing, is made up of what is conscious of what it knows and experiences, which is to say that it is made up of our most personal and inside existence, consciousness. What takes place if we make an effort to eradicate consciousness? We cannot. We are unable to retrace our steps in experience further than our consciousness. If we pursue this line of reasoning, not just intellectually, but also in our real experiences, we would come to the conclusion that the substance of all objective experience is awareness itself. We are aware that awareness is the building block of both the known and the knowing that makes up that consciousness. All things, including ourselves, exist only in the realm of consciousness. This is our experience from one moment to the next. It is not merely an intellectual concept, but rather an intimate and immediate part of our daily experience. Only that which is consistently present with you can be referred to as yourself, and you are the consciousness. And if you pay close attention to and focus on the experience itself, you will see that only consciousness is present. From this vantage point, we can talk about the unarguable, ponder the unimaginable, and point out the indescribable. When asked about the nature of reality or the self, the highest answer is always reality or the self, and this cannot be articulated. The fundamental experience that we have is consciousness. Thinking and imagination combine to generate the appearance of the mind, but consciousness manifests as thinking. When it manifests itself as the body, it does so in the form of feeling. It is only an idea that there is a mind that exists apart from one's thoughts, a body that exists apart from one's feelings, and a world that exists apart from one's perceptions. Concepts such as the mind, body, and world are never actually experienced in this way. Thinking, feeling, and perceiving are all there is to the mind, body, and world, and awareness is all there is to thinking, feeling, and perceiving. Knowledge and thinking and feeling and perception are all aspects of the same material that constitutes consciousness. Thinking, feeling, and seeing seem to project consciousness as an object or reality. Nevertheless, this projection never leaves the person who is projecting it. Even though it appears to take place outside, it would appear that consciousness is standing on this side of the projection as I. In point of fact, there is no break in the continuity of experience. The duality that exists between the internal self and the external object is something that can only ever be imagined and never truly experienced. It appears that consciousness can split its own unity into I and of the world. The thinker and the thought become distinct entities as a result of this fictitious division of thought. There are two categories of experience, the experiencer and the experienced. Knowledge is separated into nowhere and known. The subject and the object make up the different parts of the unit. Nevertheless, if we continue along this projected road in the opposite direction from which it originated, our comprehension of the mind, the body, and the environment becomes more constrained as a result of thinking, experiencing, and perceiving. Moreover, if we investigate the nature of thinking, feeling, and seeing in greater depth, we will discover that it is always just consciousness. We are both the observer and the thing that is experienced in every moment. The experience of knowing these words and the experience of becoming these words are the same experience. They are two sides of the same coin. It is nothing more than a notion that breaks up the continuous flow of experiences that an experiencer has. There is no such thing as a personal entity or a self-contained object that can be discovered any place in genuine experience. I, along with the rest of the planet, are co-creators. Imagination step by step, moment by moment. They are always seen together and vanish together in that which neither appears nor vanishes. They are the two sides of the same coin. The currency itself is presence, this present consciousness, which is that in which actual experience appears, and also that of which it is produced. These things are inextricably linked to one another. This conceptualization of experience is consisting of a perceiver, a perceived, a knower, and a known is nothing more than a mirage. It actually never takes place. Both the experiencer and the experienced are composed of the act of experiencing, and the act of experiencing itself is composed of the consciousness that is currently available. Every aspect of experience is entirely permeated by this presence, from which both the individual and the cosmos are born. Nevertheless, there is never any real delivery of the baby. It's not like on here. There is only present, there is neither you nor the world. If the barriers to perception could be removed, everything would appear to man as infinitely more expansive than it is. That is, if the mind, which is the medium through which one perceives the world, has become detached from its confines. When it stops imposing its finiteness on the item, other, or reality that it knows or sees, its infinity will become apparent. In fact, the object or the world will cease to be experienced as an object, and instead, they will be experienced as the radiance of God's infinite and self-conscious being. What else could this presence possibly be besides themselves? What else besides itself could this presence possibly know? There are not 10,000 things on your mind. Feel only one of these realities in your heart.